answer the first question by Mr. Kamal. Thank you very much for asking. And certainly, you know, it's been a very successful socialization process for Pakatan Rakyat. I must say, you know, we came together after winning the seats, you know, after giving the support of the Rakyat. And I think we really have Malaysians to thank for that, because for PAS, especially in the seat of Kota Raja, a mixed seat, about 30% non-Malays, and for 30% Chinese, for Dr. Maria, a PAS Member of Parliament, to win the support, you know, it's a testament, and it has brought PAS more to the centre, together with the AP, because we kept appreciating that they no longer have, you know, only need to address Malay concerns, they have to address Malaysian concerns, you know, the Chinese, the non-Malays, especially people of Sabah and Sarawak, and that's an important development. Like I mentioned, 44 meetings for the Presidential Council leadership, and, you know, we overcame the challenge of the Allah word, the use of Allah by Christians in Malaysia. You know, PAS stood to lose so much support amongst the Malays. The president of ABIM, Angkatan Belia Islam Malaysia at the time, a very famous mass-based Muslim organisation, was in support of government position that non-Muslims cannot use that word. But we kept the engagement going. PAS stood firm, and PAS said no. You know, in terms of the history of the Abrahamic faiths, I mean, you have to understand, and of course, you talk about Islam, and you talk about being a Muslim. If you understand the reasonings behind it, then you have to be smarter about propagating and making sure people agree with your views and your way of life. And you know, that was one of the biggest challenges we faced as a coalition, because at the same time, you know, UMNO kept on inviting the leadership of PAS, including the then Deputy President National Izzah, to form a unity government with them. And you know, we overcame that challenge. As you know, Hassan Ali has been removed from his position, and the latest discussion we had, which was really in-depth and so exciting for me, because it was us from Keadilan leadership from DAP and PAS discussing on hudud, discussing about hudud, and a very frank, very important, but very tempered, meaning even DAP had to take into account the sensitivities, the people living in the madrasas in Kelantan. I mean, it's very important, because they are giving the stakeholders the space. But you have to understand, okay, majority of modern Malaysia might not you know, feel that it is suitable, but the people in the madrasas of Kelantan, which are the stronghold of PAS, I mean, this is where they came from. This, you know, they're their stronghold basically. And during that discussion, it was decided that in Pakatan Rakyat, as you know, we are governing as a coalition, and we adhere to whatever has been stipulated in the federal constitution, as well as the common policy framework. And hudud is not mentioned there. And lest we forget, it was not only Kelantan that has approved hudud law in the state, also Terengganu, which is now under Barisan Nasional. So the criticisms that MCA has brought forth actually has to equally be applied against the National Front. So for me, sometimes I feel hudud, the Islamic State, is being used as a political ploy to either showcase, you know, who's more Islamic, who's more you know, faithful. And I applaud PAS for actually, you know, giving concession and understanding that as a coalition, we have to be governed by certain principles. So when you ask me, I go back to the 100-day plans of reform, Tawaran Jingga, the Orange Book offers, and whatever pronouncements we have made, which has been consistent since the first year we came together, which is the year 2009. So for me, we must make sure whatever happens, you know, the concerns are addressed, but we don't run away with whatever has been agreed upon in the common policy framework. As for the appeal, you know, I found out about it, of course, and it came as a shock, because they did it just the day before the deadline was supposed to, you know, the expiry of 2 weeks. And I just keep remembering, this is why we say when he was acquitted, this is only the beginning. You know, you have so many flaws in the judiciary. You have an Attorney General which has been criticized not only by myself, opposition leaders, but also the former Criminal Investigations Department Head of Kuala Lumpur, Datuk Mat Zain, written countless letters to say how horrid, how non-credible, how flawed the Attorney General is, but he's still being allowed to continue with his dirty work. He is the same man identified to have bungled up and hidden key evidence in the Anwar Ibrahim Black Eye case. And also the lead prosecutor in the first case against Anwar Ibrahim. And lest we forget, again I want to mention this, in the Al-Tantuya murder trial, Razak Bagida was acquitted. The prosecution did not appeal the acquittal, the verdict. So that's why we may say you have selective prosecution. It is being practiced. And, you know, I stated, yes, is the right of the prosecution. I certainly cannot take that right away from them to appeal. But why in certain cases affecting people who are aligned with Pakatan, but in those cases, including a highly watched trial, mind you, of Al-Tantuya, a foreign national, of those a person closely associated with the Prime Minister, no appeal. I mean, there's other cases, of course, but my point being, you know, we don't expect much for us. Certainly they'll do their worst. After all, they rejected the findings of Hospital Pusrawi. No sodomy took place, and accepted government hospital's position. And the head of the chemical department, which failed to protect the chain of evidence, was Lim Kong Boon, the chemist in the first Anwar Ibrahim sodomy trial. He's been promoted, the head of Malaysia CSI. So again, you know, it's a concern. Do you trust this person to manage your DNA? Think again. And, you know, so we, you know, these people are being promoted, are being rewarded, and they don't deserve the positions that they have right now. And it's going to affect entire flow of our systems and agencies. Now, the question by Farouk, in terms of freedom of religion, I would state this. I mentioned with regards to Pakatan, we have a coalition with the Islamic Party, PAS, and you know we have evolved. There's a lot of changes and compromises made, but we hold on to what has been enshrined in the Constitution. Islam is our official religion, and the freedom of other believers must be allowed. But at the same time, we must understand, I still believe there's a certain degree of conservatism in Malaysia. There was a Gallup poll that was done early last year with, amongst young Malaysian Muslims versus Indonesian Muslims. And it was found that young Malaysian Muslims are far more conservative than their counterparts in Indonesia. Now, I feel that is as a result of the closed media environment that we face. And with greater discourse, a greater engagement, and greater room for us to have such a forum, you know, more interfaith dialogue, it will manage better. But if you ask me, in terms of secularized Malaysia, I believe we have to adhere to whatever has been agreed on, our historical background, and we have to take it step by step. For now, what's most pressing is political reforms. What's most pressing is economic reforms by way of revamping the new economic policy, a positive discrimination policy based on race. So, I believe we have to set our priorities right. And, you know, again, whatever happens, I agree that we have to start allowing for more and vibrant forums now.